white snow, red sky, reach out for so high, blue eyes, fake cry, beware of the fox tonight. The cold feet.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of NOVAtazz's Automotive Podcast. This is season 4, episode 43, and I hope you guys are all doing well out there. I'm playing around with um, some new things. I do have a new subscribe thing that'll show up in the bottom corner-ish every so often. Uh, Thinking about next year already. So, thinking about changing some stuff up as far as live stream goes. Going for possibly a new look. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what all I need to do and where things are. Let me change the chat settings over here to show me live chat. That way I make sure that I have. Moved my office around a little bit. Monitors used to be over here. They're now over here. Hoping that doesn't make me feel so claustrophobic. Now everything that I need to do is over in this corner. And it gives me a spot to work over here if I don't want to use the big desk. Channel updates. At least till we get some new people in here. Let's see what I can come up with. Did some work out in the garage this week. Basically was working on these. Kind of my mock wiring harness. All the ends are labeled. This will let me know how long things are from one point to the other without having to go out there and go measure the car every time that I want to check to see how long something's going to run. I can just come in here and measure this. Still need to do the rest of the car in that mock harness that I just showed you. All of this is just the engine bay. So I did post a picture up on Instagram with it all laid out in the car. It's where I'm going to run the harnesses. So these are basically the stand-in for the actual harness until I have the actual harness made. Like I said, I'm going to be modifying the harness that I bought, and the sniper harness, and I think the fan harness. I'm going to be modifying everything to suit my needs and the way I want it. Something I just realized, which may involve me having to go get another connector, is, I don't even know where it is. It's down here. No, that's not it. Where did I stick that? I'm not even sure where I stuck it at this point. Oh, here it is. Hi, doggo. So something I didn't realize. This is the rear harness. This has all the lights, tail lights, all of that stuff. So everything goes from the dash all the way back to the back of the car. Now, in the stock harness, there's a split in the middle of this. So you'll have a section that runs all the way down the car, and then it splits off. What are you doing? Get out of here. No looking for stuff to eat. You'll have a halfway down the harness. They call this call that the mid harness, or no, kennel. No, you're gonna go out in the other room then. Anyway, So they call it a mid harness. This one does not have one. You know what? Hold on a second. In the kennel you go. You're not going to behave. Sorry about that. All right. So anyway, call it the mid harness. This harness doesn't have one. It goes directly from the dash all the way down the side of the car into the trunk and across the trunk. No splits, no brakes. And that could be an issue, especially since if I have to take out anything in the back of the car, it means I got to fish it out through the whole interior. What was nice about the factory one is there was a connection just inside the trunk that separated this harness from the rest of the car. So I think I'm going to want to put that back in. Like I said, it does mean that I have to put another connector in this harness, which means picking up another connector and more crimping and terminals and all that fun stuff. So again, it's just another thing of why some of this is taking so long, between work and everything else and figuring all this stuff out till I go through the whole bit. Like, didn't even think that they wouldn't have included the mid harness like the stock one, but you know, it's aftermarket, who knows. And my audio stream is currently lower than recommended bitrate. What now? I think that's BS. So there is that. I'm going to get rid of this other thing too. Where's my mouse? Take this down a little bit. Get rid of the... There we go. Let's go with studio mode. Oh, alrighty. So, still need to figure out how long of the wires that I need to order, how much of the wires I need to order, how many terminals, plugs, all that fun stuff. I'm still trying to figure all of that out. Part of why I'm doing this is I don't want to make multiple orders. So I want to figure out what everything is that I need and then go from there. Hopefully you guys are getting my audio, because I keep getting a current bitrate of 0, which isn't normal. So if you guys are out there and you can't hear me, let me know, because that's kind of important. Sorry, just looking to see if anybody else is showing up here. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been working on. I made a couple more diagrams, worked on the parts and components list that I needed. What else? Like I said, I rearranged all of this so that way I know rearranged all of this so that way I know that not that, well, I'm totally lost what I'm thinking. Lost my train of thought. Rearranged all this so that way I felt better with the way it is. I didn't like the clutter. I didn't like feeling like I was kind of stuck in a circle, in a little cubicle. So like I said, I put all my computers over here along this wall, and just moved some of this stuff around. Like I said, it freed up a nice space over here that I can put stuff to work and things like that. And yeah. Oh, so not sure who all's showing up today or if they're showing up today. I'm not quite sure. So yeah. I might work on some of this harness stuff while we're up here on live if nobody shows up. Kind of at least need somebody in the chat hello, that knows about the project and what we're doing, so we can have some conversations. Uh, stuff's don't quit at your complaining. You got yourself stuck there. Um, what else am I doing? Like I said, I want to try to switch to a different live streaming software for next year. See if it works a little bit better. Right now, I'm kind of just making this one work. In fact, this is the same one I've been making works for the last 2 years. Um, Kind of want something different, something that takes up I guess I don't have to screen capture the window, and that I don't need to watch what is going on in front of that window, because right now if I change any settings, it changes, or maybe it doesn't. No, yes it does. Um I don't want that there. Thank you. See, like, so stuff pops up, and then I don't like that. It didn't used to do that. It used to do that somewhere else, and it didn't pop up in front of the screen where the screen capture was. I can get why they're doing it. Probably stop people like me from kind of using their software. So I'm thinking about using Google Meet. My biggest worry is whether or not it's going to be easy for my co-host to get on and to use. Um, it actually takes place of, I guess, Google Hangouts. Um, Again, name change, whatever. Hi, Pilot, and we'll check that out. Because if that's easier to use, I might just use that, because I could probably literally window capture that one instead of screen capture, and then I don't have to worry about what I'm doing as far as something overlaying on top of it or whatever. Waiting for my new little widget to pop up on screen. I think it's every, I don't know if it's every 10 minutes or what. I got a couple I got like an inch or so, but it kind of melted pretty quickly. We got that twice in the last week actually, and possibly looking at more. So it's every 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes that widget pops up. So we'll have to see. That'll be in, say, another 4 or 5 minutes. That'll pop up. I don't know. I've been just trying to ignore the rest of the world and just focus on my car shit, because the world's being stupid right now. Um, I don't know. Like I said, car shit, work shit. Supposed to be going with Jess down to see Crystal event for her business. Um, and then we're also supposed to be doing, I think, a live, like, in-person sale in Pottsville next Saturday after Thanksgiving. I don't know. Hopefully she sells a bunch. She's trying to get off her feet. Oh, in fact, I gotta pull my crystals out of here and put them back up. Um, a lot of ums. This is why I edit my videos, because I don't like the ums. But that's just me. Is that magnetic? No, nothing there's magnetic. Oh, how are you doing, Pilot? I don't have anything to drink either today. Forgot to pick something up through the week. I'm not sure. Uh, oh no. It'll be during the morning, pilot. So I should be home in plenty of time to do the live. I do believe that that live sale is only until 4 or 5 p.m. So definitely should be home plenty of time to do our live here. We need to get some more people in the lives. I mean, I know I'm getting desperate. I don't know what's going on or where everybody's been, but it's been getting kind of dead in here. I did get some interaction on social media this week. I posted a feeling abandoned picture on, well, every single one. Instagram got the most. I got like a few interactions and I think 11 or so likes. Um, but yeah, still nowhere near the amount of interactions I should be getting. I'm sitting at almost 3,000 subscribers on YouTube. I have almost 1,000 subs on both Facebook and Instagram, and the interactions just aren't there. Yeah, exactly. And if you go way back, it used to be in the 50s and almost anywhere from 20 to like 80 people in here. And yeah, I don't know. I'm getting boring, I guess. I think it's just too many live streams, too many people doing too many live streams, and just, or people just being too busy doing other things. I mean, really, I can't tell you what it is or why it's happening, but you know, can't help it. Twitter is a mess all on its own, regardless of whether or not he's on Twitter or not. Twitter itself is just so messed up. Uh, hey. See, now this is that guy that I keep telling you about in this live stream. Thanks for joining, Mr. Fireman 164. Um, wow. Um, in fact, we were just talking about his channel last week. We were shouting out that other what the hell was his name? Was it Amazing? But he's the welder for one of the aftermarket muscle car companies. Um, I've been watching. Geez, I'm fanboying here at the moment, but I've been watching his channel probably 10 years now, ish. He was working on a black Camaro. Well, it was black because it was in primer, but yeah, he was building a Camaro for a friend of his, and I started watching his vids when he was doing that one, and then he switched to his Camaro, and just the progress alone on that. And granted, it's taken a while, but geez, how long has mine been taking? Um, Life and everything else gets in the way. But yeah, I've been following his channel way back. The installation center, yeah, that's it. But yeah, I've been him, um, Rare Rat, Tom's channel. I want to say, how was his channel's name? His name was Tom. Best laid plans of light of mice and men is one of my thing. Um, Acer Eric. Those are like my some of the channels that I've been watching for the longest time. Um, Double R Restorations. I think There's another one. Is it Lindsay? I haven't seen any vids from him in a while, but I still have him on my Facebook. I don't know if he gave up on his Camaro or what. But yeah, I'm still plugging away. I was saying earlier in the live stream, not an actual wiring harness, but it's my mock-up harness. Using that for determining lengths of wire. Because even though I have a full harness sitting here for both the sniper and the car, stuff in the sniper harness isn't where I want it to be, and I have to extend some wires, and I don't want to put butt connectors in the middle of the wires, so I'm just going to replace the whole wire. Re-terminate the ends, run the length as far as I want it. I'm removing some stuff out of the harness, like I said last week. Yes, Jeff Lindsay, that's the other one. Said I haven't seen him work on his car in a while. Kind of a shame. He got really close to having it to the point to where he could start putting it back together. And I guess he got frustrated with the fitments of the panels and different other things. And I think he had some life events go on. Rare Rat's still killing it. I mean, he pumps out cars like crazy. He's not super detailed with his videos, but he shows you enough of what's going on. So that you can follow along. But jeez, the amount of cars that he's made and sold, bought, tore down, put back together, and sold in the last 5 or 10 years is just wow. Acer Eric, geez, he's so close. I remember watching his car when it was completely gutted, I think, the first time I saw it. It's painted, he's just working out the stupid things now. You got your car, and the stuff you're going through with that, and it's just like the attention to detail you put in it is kind of my attention to detail with some stuff. I can't afford to be as detailed as I want to be, but yeah, I don't know. I like the way you do things. I like the way you think, even if it's not everybody's cup of tea. And it just the way you explain things and stuff, it just my brain thinks that way, and it's easy for me to pick it up. Like I said, I can't afford to be as nitpicky, even though I'm being very nitpicky. Like, I could have just slapped this harness in. I could have had this car running and driving probably 6-7 months ago. But I can't do it. I can't stand just I see people's builds on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, and although some of them look really nice, I'm just like, but you know what? Those aren't my cars. This one is. So I can do what I want with my car, and I can make it look how I want it to look. Obviously, I can't do that with I can't fix it. I can't tell other people what to do with their cars. It's their cars, their builds. They're going to do it how they want to. And there are people out there that are just like, throw it together and run it. I'd love to. My attention to detail won't let me. I'd love to have a junker car. Like, I shouldn't say all my attention to detail. It depends on the car. So this car that I'm working on currently, the Trans Am, has been my dream car since as long as I can remember. And so no, I don't want to do this one half-assed. Currently right now, yep, just trying to get it up, trying to get it back, trying to get it running, because it's not the car I want to do right now. I don't have the subscribers I want. I don't have the income I want to be able to tackle that car the way I want to. It's the Novas that I want to do now. I think I can take my time with the Novas, They're not going to need a crap ton of money. They're just going to need a crap ton of work. Nova parts aren't stupid crazy expensive, at least not yet. Trans Am parts are. I mean, $1,300 for a dash. Now, granted, I fixed mine for probably 200. I think I fixed mine for like $200. Um, and I don't think it's bad looking. I mean, I've shown pictures of it up here. I've showed pictures on Instagram. I am working on the last video right now. In fact, I just uploaded 24 gigs of video off of my phone onto the computer. Between the last of the dash video and what I've been doing with this wiring harness, I've just, like I said, 24 gigs of video off of my phone onto my computer. It's going to be fun sorting through that and editing it down into watchable lengths of video. I've seen that a lot of YouTubers recently are going to the long format. I mean, I remember YouTube used to be 5-10 minute videos. Then they upped it to 10 minutes. And then they took away the time, and people were doing like 20-30 minute videos, kind of like where I sit now. And now people are doing like Vice Grip Garage. His last video was an hour and a half. They're like full on freaking productions now. I don't know if I could sit here and make a video that's an hour and a half long and get people to watch it. Sure, I can make an hour and a half. I have plenty of footage. I can make an hour and a half long episode. Getting somebody to sit down and watch that hour and a half long episode, I don't know. I have been getting a higher view retention rate lately. Though my views are down. So that might be it. It might be just the core people were watching, it's counting the core people watching the whole video more and less of the random people popping in and popping back out. But yeah, I don't know. Let me add my banner in here. So I mean like you're on YouTube. I don't know why I'm forgetting your name. I just call you Mr. Fireman, which is kind of silly, but it is your screen name. If you're still in here. I mean, granted, I end up binge watching your content. So I won't watch them necessarily right when you release them, but then I'll end up watching 5 or 6 episodes right in a row. Though I'm also one of those people, I tend to watch a whole video. If I choose to click on a video, then I tend to watch the whole video. Very minimally will I skip around. All right, Roger. Okay, I know you said it in your things before. I'm horrible with names. I remember nicknames faster than I remember somebody's real name. But yeah, I don't know. Where was my train of thought? ADHD, gotta love it. Oh yeah, longer videos. So I've been getting longer retention time, especially with doing like the dash restoration video. But I don't think I can hold somebody for more than 10, 15, 20 minutes. The longer videos don't tend to do longer retention times. It just is what it is. And the amount of time it takes to edit a video that's that long, then upload it, is crazy. Roger that. So yeah, like I could put hours into editing. I mean, it takes me good hour or two just to go through the rough cut and chop out all the dead space and the things that don't make sense and then all that, and then to go back and fine tune those rough cuts so that way they look smooth, and then color grading and all that fun stuff. I mean, again, just like the cars, I could just chop it up and throw it up there and let it go. I used to do that. But I'm trying to make stuff that looks as good as some of the more popular automotive YouTubers that I see. Now, granted, some of them probably have people that do editing or no editing. I'm kind of just learning as I go. And it all depends. Sometimes I'll just get tired of working on a video and I'll just wrap it up and send it out. Um, I know that there's some videos out there that I've done that I put a lot of work into. No views. But that's kind of how things go. I did not get myself a drink. I'm going to have this. I forgot my sodas before I went live. And there's no one in here to distract you guys, so I can go run to the kitchen. So yeah, I take time to edit my videos. I know that there are some people that don't edit their videos at all. They just cut and paste them together. If it works for them and they're getting views and they're doing well, by all means, don't change. You're doing something that people are liking, apparently. I just don't think that that's something that I can do. I mean, normally I have like an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of footage, and to just literally send it, I don't think I can do it. I don't think people would watch it, and I think that people would click off of it before they got to the good stuff. So I cut a lot of it out, or I will time lapse it, because I kind of want to show some more of the detailed stuff and not just show you the before and afters. I mean, that's kind of why we're all up here on YouTube, is to see the actual doings of things. Not just here's what I started with and here's what I ended up with. I mean, because that's kind of like what Instagram's for. Um, show your progress. Oh, there it is. There's my little widget. I kind of was hoping it wouldn't just keep going in and out. I thought it would just come in, stay in, and then I'm gonna have to play with that. Oh, that's gonna get annoying. I gotta play with that and see what the settings are and how it works. But I think it's gonna disappear here in a minute. Yep, there it goes. Oh, so I don't know. I'm kind of lost today. Um, but like I said, I was working on this weekend. It got too cold out in the garage. My two heaters were not keeping up with the cold that was up here. It was, phew, pushing 20 outside, and it was just too uncomfortable in the garage. I mean, I had both heaters going, which I have to have them on two separate circuits, because if I throw them both on the same circuit, it'll pop the circuit breaker. Considering it's only a little 20 amp circuit breaker. But had both of them running, and I still couldn't stay warm. So I had to come in and stop playing with my widget. I wasn't playing with it. It goes on its own. Uh, but is this far? Is this all the way out? Oh, for once, that's all the way out. All right. So it got too cold, and so I had to come in, and I started working on the stuff inside, and that's when I found out that there was no mid split in this harness here, and it started getting late, so I stopped working on that, and then this morning I had to go get my kids, and then I got stuck in here playing around with rearranging this office. I was going to edit some of the video today, but I just couldn't deal with the way that everything was sitting and wanted to change. But yeah, I got all of, oh, not the Summit book. I don't have money for Summit. Got all of this that I've been sitting here and just going through. I mean, got wiring schematics upon hand-drawn schematics. Another hand-drawn. This is for the fuse panel that I'm doing. I almost got a scare because I was on one of the Facebook groups, and they were telling me that they were saying that the wire that comes out of the sniper is a 12-volt positive. And I think what they're thinking is that it's a 12-volt positive coming out of the stock relay. And I was watching somebody put one in, and they ran that blue wire out from the sniper into another relay. So the sniper has a negative trigger wire that comes out of the sniper that actually turns on the relay. They have a relay inside of the harness that's fed from power from its main power supply. So the main power supply comes from the battery, goes through a fuse, and then splits. Parts of it go to the sniper itself, and the other part goes through this relay. The negative trigger wire is what triggers the relay, and it gets a constant 12-volt power from the pink wire that also goes into the sniper. Which, here's another thing that I don't get. They're all uppity about making sure that you have a clean source, a clean 12-volt source straight from the battery going into the sniper. But yet then they throw a fuel pump relay right in that wire. Wouldn't that dirty up the signal that's coming from the battery that you spent all this time making sure ran all the way to the battery? And then I was talking to somebody about my relay box. So in my relay box, which is a Bussmann RT something or other. Let's see if I have it on this paper here. Mini papers. It doesn't have the name, but it's a 1536-5. Basically it's a relay box with this one has one bus bar for the positive, jumps over the fuses, and then you jump the fuses to whatever you're powering. I'm powering 5 relays. One for the sniper itself. It's just the turn on signal pink wire. I have one jumping over for the 12-volt power on for the sniper ignition module, or CDI box. The Hyperspark CDI box and the Hyperspark distributor both have a 12-volt turn on trigger. So those are both going to share the same. Those are both going to share the same. The same power feed, and it should be fine. In fact, the instructions tell me to freaking tie those two together anyway. Now, the sniper can control up to 2 fans. I have two 12-inch fans as part of my cold case radiator setup. I'm going to have it that the first one turns on at a lower heat, and there's 2 reasons for that. I have a external transmission cooler, and the fan that's on the side of that transmission cooler, I want that one to turn on earlier to start cooling that transmission down. The second fan I'll have turn on when the engine gets warm. So I'll have the first one turn on at like 160, somewhere around there, and then I'll have the second fan turn on, 185, 195, somewhere around there. So that way when the thermostat opens, that second fan's there to help deal with that extra heat coming from the engine as well. Those are both negative trigger wires along with the fuel pump. So because they're negative triggered, I have to run a positive from the bus bar through the fuses to the positive trigger terminal on the relays. And so I have 3 of those. And then, like I said, the third one is the fuel pump, which gets its negative from the sniper. It's positive from the bus bar. And the power goes from the bus bar through the fuse out to the fuel pump. It's not as complicated as it looks. I mean, if I would have done it Holly's way, I would have had 5 individual relays, which I don't think I have any of. Yeah, I do. So I cut all the pigtails off of it, but this is the relay for Sniper's fuel pump. Let's see. So there's the relay itself. So you got your 5 pins. You only use 4 of them. In fact, there's supposed to be a fuse. Is there supposed to be a fuse in line with this or not? I don't think there is a fuse with this one. Yeah, I don't think there's a fuse with this one. But anyway, so this is the one that Sniper things. Like I said, I already cut it out. You have your negative trigger wire. You got your pink positive wire. So when this is always getting power, and when you add a ground, it trips the power to go from the 12-volt battery source out to your fuel pump. So this is just an electronic switch. But I didn't want to see 5 of these lining up somewhere on my firewall, on a fender, on whatever. So what I have is, it's a single box. This over here would be your positive bus bar, and your fuses would go in here. They would jump the gap from the bus bar to this terminal over here. Kind of like I have in this picture over here, which I think it's upside down. So yeah, I have it over here. No, up here. So there's my positive bus bar, and these would be the jumpers jumping from the fuses over to the relays. These are the relays here. So top one would be Sniper, this one would be the Hyperspark, fan 1, fan 2, and fuel pump. And they all sit in this nice little box right here with one lid to cover it, and all the wires hiding on the back side of it so you don't see them. Looks a lot cleaner. I feel it's going to work better. But the person was saying that I shouldn't mix the high draw fuel pump fans with the low draw, the turn on wires for the Sniper and the Hyperspark, that I'd be sending in a dirty signal. But I don't get that, because right in Sniper's own harness, the pink wire, which is supposed to be the 12-volt signal turn on, goes not only to this to the Sniper, but to this as well. Right in this factory harness, the 12-volt power comes from the battery, goes to this relay and to the Sniper itself, in line with the one that they're telling us to be clean. So if they're that worried about it being a super clean 12-volt source, why do they have this relay right in line of both of those wires that they're telling you want to be a freaking clean, uninterrupted source? Their own harness has it in it. I don't get it. So I don't think that I'm going to have an issue doing it the way that I do. And if I do have an issue, well, then I'll just plan to have a second relay box with all of my low voltage stuff in it. I mean, I think I'm going to end up needing another 12-volt source relay at some point anyway, because I'd like to get an electric water pump. That way, if I want to, I can have the car off, still run the fuel pump and run the fans to cool that engine down if I need to without it running. Right now, obviously, if I shut the car off, then the water pump is no longer going to be running, even if I can get the fans to run without the, which I can, because I'm going to run a negative trigger, a switched negative trigger up in the car somewhere that I can flip and hit that, turn those relays on anyway. I mean, they're already getting battery source, battery power straight from the battery, so they're bypassing the ignition key. The only thing that's turning them on is Sniper itself. The ECU turns them on. Well, I just need to add a second ground, and if I ground out that ground, the fans will turn on. And I can turn them on whenever I want to. So if failsafe, if the Sniper for some reason doesn't turn the fans on, I can flip a switch underneath of the dash and turn the fans on myself. You know, if I notice that the car is getting hot and it doesn't seem like the Sniper it doesn't seem like the Sniper turned on the fans, like I said, I can kick both fans on with a flip of switch. So I mean, that's part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is I'm building in my own fail safes. I'm building in my own connections. I need to open up that window. Where is it? Inkscape. There it is. Is it gonna open? There it is. Engine bay diagram. No, I don't want you to be the whole window. Okay, let's share this. So you can see what the hell that I'm talking about here. Okay. So I'm probably boring you guys now, but let's zoom out of here a little bit. Change the shape of this window so you guys can actually see the whole picture. I don't need this. There we go. So this is my diagram of how my harness is going to run. This is everything that I have this labeled for, which I know I'm a little window now, but it is what it is. So I have is my mouse going to still work over here? Oh, yeah, it is. All right, so here's my battery. And here is my distribution block. So I have power going from the battery into the distribution block and into that relay box, which is going to be right here. And I have, so this hot wire is going to that bus bar in the relay that's powering all of the fuses and then jumped over to the relays. So you're going to have straight from the battery through this distribution block, which will have, oh, I lost sound. Are you sure? Da, 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 da. No, that says I have sound. That says I have sound. Da, 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 da. No, stream is healthy. Da, 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 da. Okay. Oh, anyway, where was I? So yeah, so battery's going to go. Yeah, I hope try refreshing the browser. Or if you can't hear me, that's not going to help any. Wow, my spelling is horrible. All right, anyway, so all right, so you got to go from battery. This is a fused distribution block. I think it has like a 175 amp fuses in it. There will be one power going in, technically four powers going out. Okay, cool. So it'll be actually three fused powers going out and then one power going directly down to the starter. So technically it'll go from the battery distribution block across the bus that's in the distribution block out the other side down to the starter. Um, the other outs out of this, you got the one that comes out and goes to the alternator. You got the one that comes out and goes to the relay box, and then the last one that goes out goes up here to the fuse box up on the firewall. So that's the outs for the distribution block. The relay box has the two fans, the fuel pump, and the power for the sniper, the dizzy, and the ignition control box, which is up here in this corner. And you got all your factory normal stuff anyway. So you have this side of the harness here. The harness is split into two pieces. This blue side of the harness powers the front headlights, the horns. I'm going to route the fans, the fan powers in there. I'm going to route the power for the ignition control box in there. Debating on whether or not I need to put in a plug for those power discs to disconnect the power to the control box right there, or if just unplugging it will be sufficient. I'm thinking just unplugging it will be just fine. Main thing I want to do is if there's anywhere where something's connected that also transfers to the other harness, I definitely want to plug there, so if I need to separate the two harnesses, I can. That's what this plug is right here. So the stuff coming out of the relay box, you have, if we start at the start source, all of it gets its power from the battery. The triggers, they're going to have a keyed trigger. Used to be the coil wire. Obviously, I don't need that anymore. I'm going to repurpose that coil wire to trigger the positive trigger relays. So the sniper and the hyperspark relays. So that's going to come down this and into the relay box. The negative triggers, which is going to be the fuel pump and the two fans, they're coming from the sniper itself. And they'll come out, I think, actually one out of each of these. So one out of the 10 pin and one out of the 7 pin. They'll travel down through this harness, jump this gap here. There's going to be a plug right here, so I can separate those two harnesses. They're going to jump this gap here, and they're going to come down here and then go into the relay box. Now, the power coming out of the relay box, you'll have your two fans that come up here and go to your two fans. All the other signals. So the fuel pump will come down here, go into the fuse panel, and then go into the body. And then the sniper and the hyperspark will come down here. One will branch off and power the sniper. Then I'll have over here, I'll have a branch that comes in and powers the distributor. And the other one will come all the way down here to power, to turn on the ignition the ignition control box. So that's everything that comes out of the relay box. but you still have all your normal stuff too. So I have, like I said, I have everything that comes out of here goes into all this stuff. I'm swapping the the ignition coil wire that would have normally ran to the distributor. I'm pulling it out of this bulkhead and I'm going to throw it into the light bulkhead. Now there's a 12-volt ignition power that was in this one, and it was to power, what was it to power? I think it was to power a fan relay. I think that's what it is, which I'm still going to use it to power a fan relay. Just not the one that it wanted me to. But I needed to swap which bulkhead it went to. Yeah. An electric fan relay. So that one, I'm going to switch it from this bulkhead, which is the one that it was in, and swap it over to the engine one. And I'm going to run that over to jump into the HVAC and power the blower, because it gets its power directly from a 12-volt source. Hopefully that will be just fine, and that blower won't pull more than what I think it will. I'll have to look to see what they actually pulled, because I don't want to be pulling too much power through that. If not, I might have to add another relay to do that. We'll have to see. Because yeah, that's going to be just a 12-volt source. And hopefully I have a thick enough wire running to it. This black one here, that's all the HVAC stuff. So this black wire here is that 12-volt source. It's going to go in here and it's going to power this relay. Which then eventually powers the fan. The blower. So this is the blower relay and the blower resistor for the different speeds. And that goes into the firewall for the HVAC harness. This is the coil up here. And that comes down here. Goes to my ignition control box. Hopefully I'm not boring you guys. And then all your other regular engine stuff comes out through here. So this is like the main breakout. It's like right on the other side of the brake booster. So it'll be one big thick bundle, except for the little tiny bit that pops up out of it for the windshield wiper stuff. But most of it will break out right here. And come down, it'll also have the starter. What the hell is that called? My brain is just fried. Starter solenoid wire. So your starter solenoid wire will come down to the starter here. I have this leg here, which runs down to the temperature sensor. I don't know why that's in blue. It's supposed to be in red. So this comes down here to the temperature sensor for the dash and to the alternator. This one here is the 10-pin for the sniper. This has all the tachometer output, the fan controls 1 and 2. I think there's something else that's in there that I'm using. Give me a second. I'll see if I can find it. Unless I don't have that paperwork in here for some stupid reason. Well, I guess I don't have that one in here. I thought I did. I thought I had them all in here. That one's apparently still out in the garage. So yeah, that one has, I think it only has a couple that I'm using out of those 10 pins. The rest are getting removed. So you got this big ass connector for me not using half the stuff. The orange wire here, that's the 7-pin. That'll have my 12-volt trigger wire, well, turn on wire. It'll have the main power and negative for the sniper. Um, it also has the fuel negative trigger wire that's going to run to the relay panel. Um, there's actually a fourth wire that needs to come out of the sniper that goes to the O2 sensor. And then this one up here in the front, that's my temperature sensor for the sniper itself, so it knows what temperature the engine is. The Dizzy has 3 wires that come out of it. It has the mag positive and negative wires, which are the green and purple twisted up ones. They'll go straight out of this and straight into, I think, the 7-pin. Pretty sure they come out of the 7-pin. It's either the 7-pin or the 10-pin, one of the two. And then it has another wire, which is the trigger turn-on wire, and that'll get its power from the relay box. Then we have this blue wire here. That's the oil pressure light for the oil pressure sending unit for the dash. The sniper doesn't read oil pressure. I think if I get the Dominator, I can get it to do all that stuff, but the sniper doesn't. This red other wire that runs all the way down and over. This is for the ignition control box, so this will be the white points wire, which also does go to the sniper. And then the trigger wire that's going all the way down here to the relay box. That follows this red path all the way down the side of the car up into the ignition box. There is a natural split right there. And then these are the 2 plugs for the 7-pin and 10-pin. This plug here is for the separation for the HVAC system. It's that power for the relay goes in there. What else we got going on? Like I said, I have a breakaway switch plug here, so that way if I ever need to pull anything or whatever, if I need to take off the engine harness or whatever, I don't have to take all this stuff off. I mean, that's basically it. It looks really simple on here, and it isn't really that complicated. It's just a matter of figuring out what wires are not long enough, what wires are too long, and where I want to add a connector so that way I can break apart the system. I'm definitely going to have to probably buy some shielding for some of the wires, because they don't like the high power wires running with the low power wires. It creates too much EMI. So if I want to be able to run this setup this way, because of where I have to run stuff, I'm going to have to shield some of the lower the smaller wires from the bigger wires. So I mean, I don't know what else to. I don't know if you guys have any questions or what have you. I mean, like I said, I got to do this with the interior of the car as well. I have that USB ports that I am going to be putting in the glove box and in the center console. So those are going to need to be, I'm going to need to make brand new harnesses for those. I have to make the harness for the rear defrost because the harness that I got did not come with one. I have to make, eventually I got to make a power door and power window harness. Yeah, high amp, low amp. You're right, Pilot. But yeah, they're worried about the signal wires picking up noise from the higher draw wires and causing the snipers, especially, I want to say especially like the O2 sensor, probably the temp sensor, some of the other stuff. They're worried about it picking up noise and the computer not being able to know what's going on and making bad judgment calls because of bad information. Is what is just of what gist of what I'm getting from it. So they're worried about certain power fluctuations and stuff causing bad communication with the ECU. And part of this is because they stuck the ECU right in the middle of the engine compartment. Some of the other parts is the fact that you're dealing with a car that never had an ECU. So none of the factory stuff is designed to have that in mind. And you also got my own personal thing. I'm trying to make this look as factory and clean as possible, but with still trying to be considerate of the issues that can arise by me doing that. Sure, I can spread these wires all over the inside of this engine bay. Give them all kinds of space they want, but the same time is I still want a somewhat clean looking install. I don't think that I'm not going to have to split some of these wires up or shield them or whatever, but I don't want to do it unnecessarily. Like, I don't want to split wires up just to split wires up. You know, why have a wiring harness if you're just going to have a gazillion tiny wires running everywhere? To me, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, you don't see that in a regular car. Why should I do that in my muscle car? Now, granted, like I said, they probably have shielding on their wires and everything else, and I don't have a problem with putting shielding on my wire. I just needed to know exactly what wires needed shielding and which ones don't. You know, again, that doing things unnecessarily just to cover my ass. I mean, I want to cover I want to cover my ass, but I don't want to do it excessively. I want to be able to have a nice clean looking harness, but that works the way it's intended to. So, I don't know. You know, you said last week that I tend to cause my own issues, and I don't disagree with that. But I also tend to overthink and want things to be the way I want them as well, which can have its own issues. So, I don't know. I am just like, this is my first EFI build and my first time playing around with it, so I'm sure I'm not going to get it right the first time. I mean, again, the goal is to be as thoughtful as I can and do things in a way that I hopefully won't mess up what I'm doing. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's a matter of trying to eliminate all of my potential mistakes before I make them. So that way I have less to fix later. So I'm sure I'm still going to have things that, you know, either A, I caused myself by wanting it done a certain way, or B, that I didn't realize were a mistake. Did have a slight panic, as I said earlier, because I did have a slight mistake earlier, or thought I had a slight mistake earlier because of the fact that somewhere somebody said that the 12-volt power for the fuel pump, that the Holly put out a 12-volt power that you're supposed to put into a relay, and that was the trigger for the relay, which is kind of redundant because if you really look at the harness coming directly out of the 7-pin, it says 12 negative trigger wire. In fact, I have it's right here. I have that harness. So this is the actual harness that comes out of the sniper. Now, it's generally all nice and wrapped and neat. I unwrapped it, obviously. But if you look, they have it labeled right out of, if it'll show up. Of course, it's not going to, because it wants to focus on everything but what I'm trying to show. There you go. Fuel pump output negative. This ran into the relay at that post. So that tells me that Sniper is sending out a negative ground. That you're sending out a negative ground into this relay to trigger the relay. Now, it was getting its positive signal directly out of this pink wire. And this is the 12-volt switched ignition power. So that means as long as the car is on, this pink wire has power. Which means that if this was what was triggering the relay, that fuel pump would go on the whole time the car is on. It's not how that fuel pump works. The Sniper turns that fuel pump on and off, and it uses this blue wire to do it. It grounds out this blue wire. Whatever happened to red for positive and black for negative? When you have a car that has how many different circuits, they can't run every circuit with black and red. I mean, this whole harness would just be black and red. You'd never tell where anything went. By the way, welcome aboard, Kat. This wire, because of the fact that I'm using the Hyper, I don't even need, so I can take this wire right out of this harness. This is the positive and negative that is supposed to go directly to the battery. Directly to the battery. Yet, like I said, they had this going directly from the battery into this relay and then to the Sniper, which doesn't make any sense. I'm not afraid of wiring. I'm not afraid of a lot of things. If I can look it up and learn about it, I tend to not be afraid of it. Worst case scenario is I mess it up, and most of the stuff I'm working on, it was already messed up to begin with, so I'm not doing it any unfavors. Here's that twisted purple and green wire that I said runs the distributor. Yeah, this was a nice, pretty harness, all covered in that nice, like, you know, I don't even have any. Oh, I do have some on the other harness. This is the Hyperspark harness. But yeah, it was all covered in this nice stuff and all nice and loomed and everything else. And yeah, no. I've already cut into it. Like I said, I don't think that's not staying. That's not staying. I think the only wires in this harness that are staying untouched is this purple wire, this purple and green wire. I'm probably not going to mess with that. This yellow wire is getting removed. This red wire is getting removed and being replaced with one length all the way to the battery. This negative wire, same thing. It's not long enough to reach the battery, so I'm going to put one in that reaches the battery. Pink wire getting removed and going all the way to the relay box. And the fuel pump, same thing, getting removed and getting a wire to go all the way to the relay box. So out of their fancy harness, the only thing that I'm not touching is that wire. The only one that I'm not touching, except for, oh, I lie. I am touching it. I'm taking off that connector and grounding these terminals directly into the connector for the distributor. Because from the factory, they want me to terminate this into another adapter for this, and then from that adapter goes into the terminal for the distributor, which then sends it wire up to the distributor. I'm just eliminating the middleman because I don't need it's only going what, like a foot and a half, so there's no reason to have 3 connections going that far. I'm just gonna make one. Eliminate the middleman, put this in there in between. Or just basically terminate this into the other end it needs to eventually terminate to. So yeah, the connector is going on this one, but I'm not going to take it out of this harness. Let's see. We'll go back to this one here. This one here, I have the coil wire, which is this plug here. This goes directly into the coil. It's got I think it's a orange and black and an orange wire. It's getting a connector not far after this, which means I'm just going to put a connector in here, and then I'll run an extra length of wire to make this as long as I need it to. Because it's easier to play with one side of the connector than it is the other. I'm pretty sure both of these are too short, so both of these are going to get removed and replaced with longer wires. This one, again, it's going to have a connection not far after it comes out of this plug, so that way I can, and the reason for that is these 2 wires are going across the rad support, and these 2 wires, these 2 bundles here are going down the passenger side fender. So with these 2 being in the front harness going across the radiator, if I need to pull any of those, either the front harness or the rear harness apart, they're technically joined right here. So I need somewhere where that I can split that without having to undo this whole harness down the side of the car if I don't need to, or remove this all the way from in front of the front harness. But this one here with this connector on the end is the red wire is that 12-volt switched power that'll come from the relay box, and this white one is going to go into the sniper, so the sniper can tell the ignition coil when to fire. So that's that harness. So like I said, another harness that is nicely provided, but I've got to completely redo because it doesn't work in my car. It doesn't work in my car with where I want to put the things that are going in. I mean, and the whole harness is like that. Including the American Auto Wire harness. Now, granted, none of this is their fault. They don't know what I was doing with the wiring harness. They don't know my particular car. The only thing that was made for my particular car was the American Auto Wire, which they tend to leave me a hell of a lot of options. It's just some of the stuff I want put in a certain place. Like I said, I'm removing the coil wire from the engine bulkhead, and I'm going to move it over to the headlight horn harness. That way it can travel up the side of the driver's side fender and into the relay box. And then I'm going to remove the wire that would have ran to the fan relay, and I'm going to have it power the blower relay and the HVAC. So I'm going to move it over to the engine harness so it can follow along the firewall over to the HVAC harness. So, I mean, I have reasons why I'm doing everything and where it's going and all of that stuff. So hopefully all of that stuff works and does what it's supposed to do. But I still need to find out how much wire I need, what terminals I need, which ones I don't need, what wire I can, like, some of this stuff doesn't need all of this wire. But I won't know that until I measure everything. That's the other thing is this harness here for the sniper, this orange and black wire is another one that they're concerned about, you know, transferring signals to something else. Why did they twist them from the factory? They have them in this nice loom, but they should have twisted them. Just like they were, you know, as what I don't understand is they're worried about certain things and they tell you to worry about them, but yet then they didn't do it from the factory. So why? You know, and then you want to yell at the installer because the installer, there's EMI and it's your fault. I think that some of it was their own fault. I mean, why would you put the fuel relay in line with the power wire that you want to have a clean source? Why not leave that a second one? But I don't know. I still got a lot of figuring outs to do, going through the harness, because like the American Auto Wire, even though it's, you know, a classic update and is specifically made for my car, it's not exactly like the factory one. You know, plugs aren't in the right place, things like that. Not that they're in the wrong place, but they're not in the same place, I should say. So to sit here and assume that the harness is going to go in a particular direction or go a certain way, might be wrong. So that's, like I said, I found out that this harness here doesn't have the connector halfway down through, like my stock one does. So yeah, I'll be putting a connector in there because I want it to break apart. I just now need to know how far down that bunch of wires do I have to split that off to make that connection. You know, is it 4 feet? Is it 5 feet? How long is that distance from where that plug is at in the car all the way down to the trunk area where the other plug used to be? You know, how much farther down how far down the car do I need to go? So I don't know. It's like I said, it's taken a bit. It's taken more than I thought it was going to. This whole build has taken a lot longer than I thought it was going to. But still plugging away, still working on it. And you know, hopefully you guys are hanging around for the new videos, because I have a lot of time and a lot of money invested in doing this. And granted, yes, it's for my personal car, but a lot of this stuff, especially the CFI stuff, probably wouldn't have done if it wasn't for YouTube. Not saying YouTube made me do it. They didn't. But I want to do things that are trending and current as well. I mean, granted, I'm restoring a classic muscle car. I can only expect it to be so current and so trendy. Unless muscle cars are just trendy and current again. But yeah, I mean, I could have thrown a carburetor on this. I could have done a bunch of old school stuff. But it's all been done numerous times. So I wanted to try something different, and I also want to be able to drive this car. So I want to be able to just hop in it and go. I don't want to have to be fiddling with it. I don't mind fiddling with a carburetor and things like that, but normally when you want to just get up and go is when it ends up giving you trouble. So, not that saying that the sniper can't do that as well, but it'd be nice to just be able to jump in, fire it up, and go for a cruise when I want to. Without having to worry about whether or not something's going to work or not work or whatever. So, I don't know. I am running out of things to talk about. Unless you guys have questions or what have you. I have been up here. I've lost my mouse. There it is. Hour and a half. I'm actually surprised it lasted that long. I think it's only because I had a nice topic to talk about. I can still talk about this, but I don't want to bore everybody and send everybody away. So let me know what you guys out there in the chat want to see or do. Got a topic you want to talk about? Any cool car builds? Any cool car news? We can end this. Why am I that boring you? Is that what it is? But yeah, normally I have, yeah, obviously you guys know, normally I have a bunch more people in here. I don't know where everybody's gotten to, but I'll keep plugging away at it. Hopefully maybe everybody will come back. You know, I'm gonna end this and then people are gonna want to show up and message me and say, hey, I was just about ready to get on. Generally tends to be how this works. All right. Good night, guys.